Welcome back to the Viking Update Show. We're firmly in speculation season. It's what makes the NFL so popular, is that as soon as the season ends, people start looking at franchise tags, free agency, the draft, trades, roster construction, everything else. That's the way we're going to play it here on the Viking Update Show. He's John Krawczynski from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. The Viking Update Show is presented to you by Giggly, THC Beverages, and OnX Hunt. And we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio. The best way to listen to this show or any show at TalkNorth.com, including Jeff Diamond's show. Just subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. Let's start off today talking about the secondary, because the secondary is fascinating. Harrison Smith could retire. Cam Bynum might want more money than they want to pay him. He's been an important player for them, but he's not the most talented player in the world. They have Stephon Gilmore, who's at a high age, who signed a 1-year contract last year and maybe seemed to fade a little bit at the end of the year. You never know if that's age or had some kind of a nagging injury. I thought Shaq Griffin was a plus, but probably something that you don't want to overpay. Then you have Byron Murphy Jr., who, Jeff Diamond on his show, the former Vikings general manager, says he's kind of the guy you probably target with the franchise tag because you can't afford to lose him. Then you have Josh Metellus, who just kind of continues doing his thing. How do you prioritize these guys, and where do you think the tough decisions might be?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to get into here. Maybe first and foremost, we just start with, what do you think Harrison Smith is going to do? Because clearly, when you look at that group and we look at the secondary, Harrison Smith is at the top of the food chain, rightfully so, probably a Hall of Fame player, has had just an incredible career. I thought he played well last year. And the impression that I got as the year went on was that he was really enjoying playing with this group, that he really likes playing for Brian Flores, that he feels they are close to breaking through to a place that he has not been in his career. And so part of me thought, well, maybe he will hang on for another year. Maybe he'll give it, one more chance here. But then, when they lose the playoff game and he is incredibly crestfallen, and just really emotional about that moment, the way that I read that was, this was my chance. I thought we had it, and I don't know if I can do this again. So I don't know what he's going to do, but what do you think he's going to do?
I think you characterized it just right. I think he really loves playing for this organization right now, loves playing for this coaching staff. He had a good year. This team could go someplace this year or in the next couple of years. So logically, it makes sense for him to come back, take another shot at this, make some more money while he still can. And I think he likes being a Viking. I don't know Harrison all that well myself, but we have mutual friends and acquaintances. I think he really likes being a Viking. I think celebrity can be really tough on some people. I think it's the right kind of and the right level of celebrity for Harrison Smith, where he gets to be Harrison Smith, but he can also move around downtown Minneapolis and not be overly bothered. So I think he likes all that stuff. I also think that he's become more aware. I remember talking to Harrison when he was a rookie, and back then it was when you could basically just lead with your head and destroy people. And a lot of defenders back then didn't realize or didn't care. They might even destroy themselves with that kind of technique. And I remember asking him, hey, do you ever worry about your health because you're willing to lead with your head and take concussions and possible neck injuries? And he basically said, no, I don't care. I just don't care. And then, he's matured. He came into the league as a very young player, and I think he cares about health. I think he wants to have a long, healthy life and play with his kids. And at this moment, my guess, and it's nothing more than a guess, is that he'll take everything into account and decide, why not get out while I'm pretty dang healthy?
Yeah, that's the way that I lean as well, because the other part that I know about Harrison Smith, and you're right, we both, I think, have players who we've really connected with and things, and we feel like we have a really good read on. I feel like I know Harrison Smith just because he's been here for so long, but I'm certainly, I wouldn't say that I'm close with him, that I know, that I know anything more than we've seen really publicly. So I'm not having behind the scenes conversations with him or anything like that. But one thing that I've observed about Harrison Smith is that he is a thoughtful dude, which kind of leads me to the possibility that he's thinking, yeah, I believe that we're close. I think that we're almost there, but just because we might be close doesn't mean that we're going to break through. And so practicality speaking would say, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to try and save my body a little bit. He has made plenty of money in his career. He should be set up very, very well. But I think that there's just a part of me also that says, man, like you said, he loves playing for this team. I think he loves playing for this iteration of this team. And Kevin O'Connell and Flores and the group around him. And so my actual thing is, I think he might come back for one more year. Now, if he does, let's just play that out. If he does come back, is he a guy who you can say is definitely just starting every game and playing big snaps? Or do you have to almost account for that? Say, okay, Harrison Smith's come back. He's going to be an incredible resource for us. He's still a good player, still makes plays. But I would imagine that they'd have to account for and need even more depth at safety to give him some breaks, to, kind of brace for in case there's an injury and, playing at his advanced age, relatively speaking, to other players. So that's just what I wonder about, is if he does come back, if that changes maybe almost how that defensive backfield is constructed, because you can't expect him to play all 17 games and, to be like a leader in snap count for your defense. I wouldn't imagine at this stage of his career.
Okay, well, let's go through the secondary with and without Harrison Smith. Start without. If Harrison retires, then I think it's probably the right time to move Metellus into a starting spot at safety. And then you have to ask, how much is it going to cost to keep Cam Bynum? Is he affordable? If he's not affordable, can you get somebody better in the open market? They're coming off a year where they crushed it in veteran free agency. Maybe they feel like they can do better for the money. Cam Bynum be a nice guy for continuity. He's a great guy. He's smart. He makes big plays. He's not big, physical, or fast like you would want a safety to be ideally, but he kind of finds a way to be effective. I don't know. What do you think about the safety position if Harrison Smith isn't here?
Yeah. So the concerns that I would have are two. One is, like, Bynum is a good player, no question. And he knows for the football, finds a way to make plays in big situations. I do think, though, that among fans, he's probably elevated a little bit higher than you may think he deserves to be. Just like, look, he's a charismatic dude, great story, does all the dances, fan favorite. And so you might say, gosh, we got to bring Cam Bynum back. We have to. I don't know that he is essential for what they have back there. Now, certainly, if you lose Harrison Smith, I do think that it would be helpful to have him back, just as a guy who knows the defense, continuity, again, really good locker room guy. That's all good. My other concern with losing Harrison Smith and moving Metellus to that starting spot is, I think Metellus is a really good player, but it seems like his value to this defense is kind of lies in his versatility, and Flores playing him all over the field, and safety at a pseudo linebacker, at, just kind of like, just everywhere. And I wonder if putting him in at starting strong safety, I mean, certainly you have him on the field all the time. That's great. And you can move him around into different positions, when he's out there. But I think it weakens the defense in a little bit in terms of just that Swiss Army knife style that Flores deploys Metellus in, that would make me concerned, I guess, a little bit. I love Metellus as a player. I think he's really good, and he deserves to play as much as he can. But those would be my biggest worries. Are we overrating Cam Bynum? And are we losing what makes Josh Metellus special by just putting him in one spot in the defense.
I have a follow-up thought on that. First, want to let you know that you should keep the good times rolling without the regrets. Giggly THC beverages are your go-to for bold flavor and smooth vibes, zero alcohol, no bad decisions, just THC-infused cocktails, seltzers, and teas packed with natural ingredients and performance-boosting superfoods like ashwagandha and ginseng. Find Giggly at more than 500 locations like Total Wine, MGM, and Cub Foods, or shop online at giggly.com. That's GIGLI.com. Ready to upgrade your drink game? Use the code Giggly North, GIGLI North, for 50% off your first order. Giggly, sip smarter, feel better. My wife and I have been drinking a lot of that stuff lately. We love it. Also want to let you know that ice fishing is here, and it's time to hit the frozen water with Onyx Fish. The Fish app is the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your confidence on ice. Use Onyx Fish to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potentials. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. For a limited time, download Onyx Fish for free in Minnesota and Wisconsin, or go to onyxmaps.com/fish to get more information on the app that is changing the game on ice. Also, here's our colleague at TalkNorth.com, Michael Russo, for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
So I agree with you on Metellus. He's probably better suited to be the rover that Flores uses him as in this defense. And here's the other thought. I mean, we talk about continuity. They went out and got Grenard, Cashman, Van Ginkel, and Gilmore. And those guys not only played well, they played well right away in this defense. So maybe continuity isn't as big a deal with Brian Flores as you might think.
Yeah, great point. Certainly one thing that we got to know about the process for free agency that I feel great about for the Vikings going into this offseason is that we learned that Brian Flores did his own kind of research and background into some of the players that he thought might be good fits. And then he brought those thoughts to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, and Kwesi went out and trusted Brian Flores and got some of the guys that Flores wanted. Also, I'm sure that Kwesi looked at it and said, yes, I agree, these would be good fits, went out and got them, and they turned out to have great success. So that, to me, is a very repeatable formula for free agent success. There's plenty of times where teams go out, they sign a guy and get lucky or get unlucky, whether it's with injury, whether it's fit, all of these things. But what we saw with the collaboration between O'Connell, Flores, and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah in terms of targeting players that they felt would be good fits and then turned out to be good fits, I like the idea that they can do that again. So yeah, maybe I think it's a good point that leaning on continuity may not be the thing to do. And it's going to be more about, probably in the end, about deployment of resources. Like, what is safety X going to want and command to get here versus defensive tackle Y? What is, guard A going to get and how does that affect their ability to go sign the cornerback D? Like, so like these are all puzzle pieces that have to fit together. But yeah, I think that, you're right in terms of it doesn't have to be the same guys coming back for this. But if Harrison Smith is gone and Cam Bynum is gone, those are two spots that you do have to fill. And that's, that is a big job.
No doubt about it. I'm also really intrigued. They've spent a lot of high draft picks over the years and recently on guys in the secondary, particularly cornerbacks. And, I'm really interested to see if any of these guys can really step in and take a job. Otherwise, it's just hard to fill all the holes you might have. And maybe Mekhi Blackmon is the right kind of Flores player.
Yes, if there's a level of intrigue that I'm, excited for going into training camp next year. And I know it's a long ways away, but I'm already thinking about it. Obviously everyone says, well, JJ McCarthy, man, it'll be great to see him out there and all this. I really want to see Mekhi Blackmon. I know that the coaching staff was fairly high on him. They believe that he can be an impact player. The measurables that he has, everything that he brings to the table. I think that they were projecting him to have a big role in this defense before he got injured. And so how he recovers from the injury and his ability to come back and be a factor is going to be a major part of the future of this defense. If he can't do it, if he's healthy and just turns out to be just an okay player and nothing more than that, that's a big blow to this secondary and to this defense in general. And so, I think that how the Vikings believe, how much they believe in Mekhi Blackmon will probably be indicated by their approach in free agency, this winter and spring. If they, they go out and they get another cornerback or they target that position, that's telling you that, maybe he's not going to be ready, or maybe there's some lingering doubts. But if they instead go safety, if they go defensive tackle, if they go offensive line and don't prioritize cornerback, maybe that means that they believe that Mekhi Blackmon's going to come back and be a really good player for them, because they do need it. Like you said, Gilmore's getting older. Shaq Griffin is a solid player, but nothing more than that. Byron Murphy Jr. is going to get paid either here or elsewhere. And so they need Blackmon, because other than that, you have Fabian Moreau, you have, McLovin, you have Najee Thompson. Like, there's not a whole lot to hang your hat on from a depth perspective at cornerback outside of Mekhi Blackmon.
Agreed. And I do think they will find a way, either franchise tag, long-term contract, to keep Byron Murphy Jr. I just think he's the one guy you have to have back.
Yeah, he's another very good free agent signing for Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. And makes plays and is super reliable. I think it's really cool to see a cornerback who is, making all these splash plays and interceptions and doing all those things. But I feel like one of the underrated qualities at that position is if you are just reliable, if you know that if the defense knows that you're going to be there every game and that you're not going to be making big mistakes, that you're going to be in the right spot. Maybe you're not picking off 10 passes a game or a season or anything like that, but you're just where you need to be all the time. That's just huge for this defense in particular, with all of the games they like to play on the back end. And so, I do also anticipate that Murphy will be here. It would be interesting just to see them use a franchise tag on a cornerback. That's not something I feel like I've seen a ton of. And I'm that would mean one big number for
20
him,
million probably.
Yeah, but it makes sense. It certainly does, because that's another position where you can age quickly, and committing long term to anyone there is sometimes risky business. But Murphy's been great for them, and I think he's exactly what they need. And so having him back it would be a big deal for sure.
No doubt. Let's talk about next. where Sam Darnold might end up and just how much I miss the NFL. I admit it. First, though, we want to thank Aquarius Home Services.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services, your independent authorized Connecticut dealer, bringing some love to your water. Isn't it time for softer skin and laundry, sparkling dishes, and water so good you'll want to hug your faucet? Connecticut is easy on salt, uses zero electricity, and delivers worry-free water you'll love. Schedule your free water analysis today at AquariusHomeservices.com and save up to 25% on a Connecticut whole home system. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
One thing I want to tell you about, I've told you, spent so much time telling you about how great the shop is. It's my favorite men's clothing store in Minnesota. I think it's the best men's clothing store in Minnesota. Just how I buy my own stuff there. I pay full price. I don't ask for discounts. I don't get free stuff. I want to support their store the way they've supported TalkNorth.com. When I say they, Scott Dayton, the owner of Twill by Scott Dayton in the Edina Galleria. I'll just be very specific today. I was in there the other day to pick up a really nice sweater and a jacket that they had tailor made for me that my wife insisted I get. And I just looked at some of the stuff that's on sale. They have these Peter Millar golf shirts and Johnny O golf shirts that are absolutely beautiful, that are 40% off. If you're ever going to go buy a nice golf shirt, and listen, I got both kinds. I got the beat around, go to the driving range, happy to sweat through it kind of golf shirts that I've had forever. But all my new stuff is Peter Millar or Johnny O, and it wears incredibly well. It's stuff that you could wear under a jacket. It's stuff that you could wear to a nice golf course, to a nice lunch in the summer, whatever you're doing. Take advantage of this. 40% off stuff that will last you the rest of your life, that fits well, that has that great athletic fabric that stretches with you, that feels comfortable in all the settings. Go to Twill in the Edina Galleria. Check it out in person. Tell them Talk North or Jim Souhan sent you, and I promise you they'll treat you well. Where do you think Sam Darnold ends up?
Maybe the Raiders, Jim?
I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. I mean, we know that Tom Brady was impressed by what he did last year, and Brady certainly has a big say in that organization now. I think also, Pete Carroll would be a great fit for Sam Darnold, I think, as a coach with a similar sort of approach to Kevin O'Connell in terms of like the positivity, the energy, the enthusiasm. Certainly O'Connell probably knows a heck of a lot more about developing quarterbacks, even though I know Carroll has had some good ones in his 10 years as a coach. But I just think like if Sam is looking for some sort of similar environment to grow in, the Raiders make some sense. Certainly don't have the same skill position talent that the Vikings do around him, but you have Brock Bowers, the tight end, is a stud. And I think there's a few other pieces, and then they can add in the draft and free agency. But for an organization, I think that is craving some stability, that is craving just a level-headed approach after sort of the wild nature of their last 5-10 years, really. A Pete Carroll, Sam Darnold combination feels like something that you can go into a training camp with and say, okay, we have good people in these positions that will have the right approach and settle this thing down.
Yeah, agreed. As far as Pete Carroll coaching Sam Darnold, he's not the quarterback whisperer that O'Connell is in terms of developing a wide open passing game. But I think what Pete does well is he protects his quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing about Russell Wilson's career is he looked like a Hall of Famer when Pete was kind of limiting him, then cutting him loose in the fourth quarter when it's time to make big plays, and relying on a running game the first three quarters, which is kind of the way John Elway was coached early in his career by Mike Shanahan got there and kind of cut things open. And once Russell got to be the focal point of the offense, things didn't go so well. So I think Pete might be really good for Darnold, and that he'll make things really simple for him.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. I think when you look at, if Kevin O'Connell did sort of make a mistake with Sam Darnold, I think that towards the end, I think he just almost trusted him a little too much and just said, come on, we've done this already this season, so I'm going to believe in you, and we're just going to keep running the same stuff that we've been running, and I'm going to expect you to come through. Whereas I do think that Pete Carroll in those situations may have looked at how he was playing, at how the games were going, and reined things in a little bit more and helped him that way. Now, what I will say is that I think Kevin O'Connell's faith in Sam Darnold early on in last season was a huge sort of springboard for him to have the season that he did. I think that Sam Darnold needed a coach to say, yeah, just, I believe in you. Go out there, cut it loose, and let's make some plays down the field, and let's be confident in yourself and go do it because we believe that you can do it. But I think that there wasn't enough sort of recognition that in those last two games that Sam was just out of sorts and he was not the same player. And so I think there's probably a case to be made that Pete Carroll probably adjusts a little bit more and said, all right, we're running the ball a little bit more, or we're going short, quick game to Bowers. We're doing this to Devontae Adams, whatever it is. You know, I know Adams isn't there anymore, but like, you know, whatever they have, I think that there will be a little bit more recognition of, I can help you and I won't put you in positions that are going to make you look bad. And so that might be a very good match for him. I
agree. Let's save the topic of why I miss the NFL so much for a future show. I think we've gotten enough in today. One last question, because you and I on your basketball show, the John Krawczynski show at talknorth.com, we were talking about just how good the NBA All-Star game was, with a couple of flaws, but the actual basketball was better than it's been for a while now. What do you think about the NFL and what they do with the Pro Bowl? I mean, I almost feel like there's no good answer.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You know, you look at it and I guess it seems like they are leaning even further away from the game than, you know, what the NBA did, obviously. But I almost embrace that part of it. Because we have gotten to the point of our understanding of football and our acknowledgement of the wear and tear that it puts on the body, that asking guys to suit up and play a full speed level game in full pads just is not feasible or smart or any of the things that you want anymore going forward. I like some of the events that they did. I like that quarterback challenge that they did. Like, I like the idea of having these guys in situations where they're doing stuff that you really do say, wow, these guys are great athletes, or man, that was fun and different. And we see it, and just make it more of like a kind of like a obstacle course, like kind of a feel for, you know, just a celebration of the game and seeing these guys who, without their helmets on, you know, be able to have a little personality. The flag football thing, I'm not exactly, you know, I'm not big on that. But breathing more of those, just like, hey, let's just have quarterbacks get together and throw at these moving targets 30 yards down the field and see who does the best. Let's see, you know, let's do, you know, a race, or let's do like all these different events with these guys. Like, I like that idea, and I would be fine with that, because frankly, I'm not as I don't have as many like warm and fuzzy feelings about the Pro Bowls of old, where maybe you see in Magic Johnson against Michael Jordan in the NBA All-Star game.
Right. Well said. Agree completely. All right. Hey, check out the John Krawczynski show. Subscribe to any shows you do like at talknorth.com. We do appreciate it. We have some interesting developments with the network coming up soon. We'll be telling you about. For today, thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to everyone who listens. Thanks to John. And we'll talk to you next week.